Your phone buzzes.
Hey, can you help me with this real quick?
And before you even think about it, before you check your schedule, before you ask yourself if you actually have the energy, your thumbs are already typing. Yeah, sure, no problem. But somewhere underneath that text message, a different voice was screaming. A voice that said no. A voice that said, I don't have time for this. A voice that said, I'm already stretched thin. And you silenced it. Again. Here's something nobody tells you. Every time you say yes to something you don't want, you are saying no to yourself. You just don't notice it because the theft is silent. Nobody sends you a receipt.
By the end of this video, you're going to understand why the most powerful word in the entire Stoic vocabulary isn't yes, it's no. And you're going to see exactly why the ancient Stoics, men who built entire philosophies around discipline, virtue, and inner freedom, considered the ability to refuse one of the highest forms of self-respect a human being can practice. There's one idea sitting at the center of Stoic philosophy that we need before we go further, and it's this: some things are within your control, and everything else isn't. Your time, your energy, your attention, your standards, those are yours. Other people's opinions of you? Not yours. Their disappointment when you don't do what they want? Not yours either. Every time you say yes out of fear, guilt, or habit, you're handing away something that belongs to you, in exchange for something that was never yours to control in the first place. So let's get into it. Here are 8 brutal, uncomfortable, and completely liberating truths about why learning to say no might be the most disciplined thing you ever do for yourself. Reason 1. Every yes is a theft from your own life. Ask yourself something honestly right now. How many hours in your week actually belong to you? Not to your job, not to your inbox, not to the people who just need 5 minutes of your time that somehow always turns into an hour. How many hours are yours? Most people can't answer that question. And that's the problem. Time doesn't restock itself. It's the one resource in your entire life that never regenerates. You can lose money and make more. You can lose sleep and catch up. But you can never, under any circumstances, get back an hour you already spent. Once it's gone permanently, filed away in the past, completely out of your control. So when you say yes to something you don't actually want to do, understand what's really happening. You're not being generous. You're not being kind. You're taking out a loan against the only truly finite resource you own, and you're paying interest on it for the rest of your life because that hour is never coming back. The Stoics were obsessed with this idea. Seneca, one of the great Roman Stoics, spent an entire essay making the case that people guard their money and their property fiercely, but they hand out their time to absolutely anyone who asks, as if it were worthless. He said most people don't run out of time. They waste it on things that were never worth their attention in the first place. Think about that the next time you're about to agree to something out of pure obligation. That meeting you don't need to attend. That favor that benefits everyone except you. That commitment you already know deep down is going to drain you. Every one of those is a withdrawal from a bank account that can never be refilled. This isn't about becoming cold or unavailable. It's about waking up to the math. You don't find time for the things that matter to you. You take it back, deliberately, one boundary at a time, one honest no at a time. Because here's the truth, you don't find time, you steal it back, one no at a time. Think about the last time you actually protected a few hours for yourself. No obligations, no guilt, just time that belonged entirely to you. Can you even remember it clearly? For a lot of people, that memory is blurry, because moments like that have become rare exceptions instead of a normal part of life. And that's not an accident. It's the direct result of 1,000 small yeses that quietly ate into the space where that time used to live.
Reclaiming it doesn't require a dramatic life overhaul. It starts with refusing the next unnecessary request before it even lands on your calendar.
Reason 2. People-pleasing is slow-motion self-destruction. Let's talk about the fear underneath most of your yeses. Not generosity, not kindness. Fear. The fear of being disliked, the fear of disappointing someone, the fear that if you say no, they'll think less of you, talk about you, or quietly write you off. So you say yes. Your shoulders tense, your stomach knots, but your mouth says yes anyway, because in that split second, avoiding their disapproval feels more urgent than protecting your own peace. This is where the Stoics would stop you cold. Because chasing approval means chasing something that was never yours to control. You cannot manage what someone else thinks of you. You can only manage your own choices, your own integrity, your own actions. The moment your sense of peace depends on someone else's opinion, you've handed them a remote control to your emotional state, and they didn't even have to ask for it. People-pleasing feels like kindness. But look closer, and it's actually a survival strategy built on fear. And like any strategy built on fear, it doesn't protect you. It slowly erodes you. You start making decisions based on what won't upset people, instead of what actually reflects who you are. Over months and years, this adds up to something devastating. You become a stranger to yourself, fluent in everyone else's preferences and illiterate in your own. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who wrote what might be the most honest personal journal in history, reminded himself constantly that other people's judgments are not his responsibility to manage. Only his own actions are. He wasn't writing that down because it came naturally. He was writing it down because, even as the most powerful man in the world, he still had to fight the pull towards seeking approval. If an emperor had to consciously train himself out of people-pleasing, what makes you think it's supposed to be easy for you? The moment your peace depends on their opinion, you've handed them the keys to your mind. Take the keys back. And here's the part that stings the most. Chasing approval doesn't even work in the long run. You can bend yourself into 1,000 different shapes trying to keep everyone happy, and someone will still be disappointed in you eventually. Because you cannot control what other people think, no matter how hard you try. All that effort, all that anxiety, all that self-erasure, spent chasing something that was never guaranteed, and was never yours to guarantee in the first place. The only approval you can actually secure with certainty is your own. Reason 3. Boundaries aren't selfish. They're the definition of self-respect. Here's a label society loves to slap on anyone who dares to say no. Selfish. You decline an invitation to protect your energy? Selfish. You tell your family you need space? Selfish. You refuse to take on extra work that isn't yours? Selfish. Somewhere along the way, we all absorbed this idea that a good person is an endlessly available person, and anyone who sets a limit must be lacking in character. It's time to flip that completely. The Stoics organized their entire ethical system around 4 virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, and self-discipline. Notice something. Courage is on that list. And saying no, especially to someone you care about or someone with power over you, takes real courage. It's far easier to smile, agree, and swallow your discomfort than it is to look someone in the eye and say, "I can't do that." So ask yourself which one actually requires character. The person who says yes to avoid a moment of tension, or the person who says no because they respect their own limits enough to protect them, even when it's uncomfortable. A person with no boundaries isn't generous. They're invisible. They disappear into whatever everyone else needs them to be until there's nothing distinct left to respect in the first place. You cannot build self-respect on a foundation of constant self-abandonment. Every boundary you set is a small repeated statement to yourself. My time matters. My energy matters. My needs are not negotiable just because someone else is uncomfortable with them. That's not selfishness. That's the bare minimum required to remain a whole person. Courage, in the Stoic sense, was never reserved for battlefields or life or death moments. It shows up in far smaller, far more mundane places. In a family dinner where you decline to discuss something you'd rather keep private. In a work chat where you decline to take on a task that isn't yours. In a friendship where you decline to lend money you can't afford to lose. None of these moments make headlines, but each one is a small act of courage. And courage, like any muscle, grows stronger the more often you actually use it instead of talking yourself out of it. Reason 4. Reluctant agreement breeds quiet resentment. Picture this. Someone asks you for something you really don't want to do, and instead of saying no, you smile and say, "It's fine, don't worry about it." But it's not fine. It was never fine. You just didn't have the nerve to say so. Here's what nobody warns you about that moment. The feeling doesn't disappear just because you didn't voice it. It doesn't evaporate. It goes somewhere. It gets stored. In your tone the next time they ask for something. In the passive-aggressive comment that slips out 3 weeks later. In the sudden explosion over something completely unrelated that was really just the final straw on a pile you built one fake yes at a time. Fake peace today is a guaranteed explosion tomorrow. The Stoics placed enormous value on being honest with yourself first, before anything else. Marcus Aurelius wrote his private journal specifically as a space to be brutally truthful with himself, because he understood that self-deception is the seed of every other problem. And agreeing to something you don't want while telling yourself and everyone around you that it's no big deal is a form of self-deception. You're lying to keep the peace, and that lie has an interest rate. The people who say yes out of guilt aren't kinder than the people who say no out of honesty. They're just delaying the bill. And when that bill finally comes due, after months of swallowed frustration, it rarely comes due in proportion to what actually caused it. It comes out sideways, at the wrong moment, aimed at the wrong person. And it damages relationships far more than an honest no ever would have. A direct, respectful refusal today costs a small amount of discomfort. A resentment you swallow costs you compounding interest for months. Reason 5. You weren't built to live by everyone else's standards. Take a step back and look at your actual schedule, your actual habits, your actual decisions this past month. How many of them were chosen because they genuinely reflect what you want out of your one life? And how many of them were chosen because it's what's expected, what your family expects, what your industry expects, what the algorithm on your phone has quietly convinced you that everyone else is doing? The Stoics talked constantly about living according to nature, and this phrase gets misunderstood a lot. It doesn't mean camping trips and going off-grid. It means living according to your own rational nature, your own values, your own judgment, your own sense of what's actually good, rather than being dragged around by the herd. And the herd is loud. It has opinions about your career, your relationships, how you spend your weekends, what success is supposed to look like by a certain age. It rewards conformity and punishes deviation with side eyes and whispered judgment. Saying yes to the herd is easy because it's the path of least resistance. Nobody criticizes you for doing what everyone else is doing. But here's the cost. Copying everyone's expectations is the fastest way to become no one. If every decision you make is calibrated to avoid criticism rather than reflect your actual values, you're not really making decisions anymore. You're just absorbing pressure and reflecting it back out as behavior. That's not a life. That's a mirror. This pressure has only gotten heavier in the age of constant comparison. Every scroll through a feed is a fresh reminder of what you're supposedly falling behind on. The career move you haven't made, the relationship milestone you haven't hit, the lifestyle you haven't achieved.
It's easy to mistake that noise for your own ambition when really it's just borrowed pressure from people you've never even met.
Saying no to that pressure, no to the comparison, no to the manufactured urgency is one of the quietest but most important refusals you'll ever make. Saying no to what doesn't align with your values isn't rebellion for its own sake. It's the only way to make sure the life you're building is actually yours, and not a composite of everyone else's expectations stitched together into something that looks like a life from the outside, but feels hollow from the inside. Reason 6. Honest no beats fake yes every single time. There's a version of kindness that isn't kindness at all. It's avoidance wearing kindness as a costume. You agree to plans you have no intention of following through on wholeheartedly. You say yes to a project at half effort because you didn't have the courage to say no at full honesty. You tell someone what they want to hear instead of what's actually true because the truth might create friction, and friction feels unbearable in the moment. But think about what this actually does to your relationships. Every fake yes is a small act of dishonesty. And relationships built on a foundation of dishonesty, even well-intentioned, nice dishonesty, are relationships built on sand. The other person thinks they're getting your genuine commitment. What they're actually getting is your resentment wrapped in a smile, scheduled for delivery later. A real no respects people more than a fake yes ever will. Think about that for a second. When you tell someone the truth, I can't commit to this. This doesn't work for me. I don't have the capacity right now. You're treating them as someone capable of handling honesty. You're giving them accurate information they can actually use to make their own decisions. That's respect. Telling them what they want to hear, only to underdeliver or quietly resent it later, treats them like they're too fragile for the truth. That's not kindness. That's condescension dressed up as niceness. The healthiest relationships in your life, the ones that actually last, are not built on everyone agreeing with everyone all the time. They're built on people who can say, "No, I don't think that's right," or "No, I can't do that," and still remain in good standing with each other. If a relationship can't survive an honest no, it was never as solid as the constant yeses made it look. Reason 7. Inner freedom starts the moment you stop needing permission. Here's a question worth sitting with. Are you waiting for someone to give you permission to say no? Permission from your boss to protect your evenings. Permission from your family to skip an obligation. Permission from your friends to sit an event out without a fully justified excuse. If you're waiting for someone else to grant you the right to protect your own time and energy, you've already given away the very freedom you're hoping to reclaim. The Stoics had a word for the kind of inner calm they were chasing: apatheia. Not apathy in the modern sense of not caring, but freedom from being controlled by disturbances outside your power. And one of the biggest disturbances in most people's lives isn't some dramatic crisis. It's the low, constant hum of needing everyone's approval before making a single move. Real freedom isn't the ability to do absolutely anything you want whenever you want. That's a childish definition of freedom. Real freedom is not needing anyone's permission, and not needing anyone's approval to do what you already know is right for you. It's an internal state, not an external circumstance. Nobody can grant it to you, and nobody can technically take it away from you either. You can only give it away, piece by piece, every time you outsource a decision that was always yours to make. The moment you stop asking, silently or out loud, "Is it okay if I say no to this?" The moment you simply recognize that it already is okay, because it's your time and your life, that's the moment inner freedom stops being a philosophical concept and starts being something you actually live inside of. Most people spend their entire lives outsourcing this authority without ever noticing it. They ask their parents if a decision is acceptable. They ask their friend group if a choice will be judged. They ask social media, indirectly, by watching how similar choices get received before committing to their own. Every one of those is a tiny transfer of authority away from yourself and onto someone else. Reclaiming that authority doesn't happen in one dramatic moment. It happens the first time you make a decision, especially a no, without consulting anyone else's approval first, and realize the sky didn't fall. Reason 8. The fewer times you say yes, the more your yes is worth. Last reason, and it might be the most practical one on this list, if you say yes to everything, every request, every invitation, every favor, every project, what does your yes actually communicate? Nothing. It's just noise. It's the default setting. People stop even registering it as meaningful because they already knew what you'd say before they asked. But think about the people in your life who rarely commit to things. When they do say yes, when they do show up, agree, commit, it carries weight instantly. You know they thought about it. You know they weighed it against their actual priorities. You know it wasn't automatic. That's why their word means something. This is basic scarcity applied to your own character. A yes from someone who says no often is worth more than 100 yeses from someone who can't. Every time you agree to something without real consideration, you're quietly devaluing your own word. A little more each time, until eventually your yes stops meaning, "I've decided this matters," and starts meaning nothing more than, "I didn't have it in me to disappoint you." Learning to say no isn't just about protecting your time or your peace. It's about restoring meaning to the moments you do commit. When you finally do say yes to a project, a relationship, an opportunity, you want that yes to mean something to yourself and to the person receiving it. That only happens if no is a real available option most of the time. All of this sounds good in theory. But theory doesn't rewire years of automatic people-pleasing overnight. So here are 3 rules, not tips, rules to start applying immediately. Rule 1, the 24-hour delay. Stop answering requests in the moment. When someone asks you for something non-urgent, your default response becomes, "Let me think about it and get back to you." That single sentence breaks the automatic yes reflex. It creates a gap between the request and your response, and in that gap, you actually get to consult what you want, instead of reacting out of guilt or social pressure. Rule 2, the one-line no. You do not owe anyone a paragraph of justification. Over-explaining a no usually does one thing. It gives the other person more surface area to talk you out of it. Keep it short, calm, and final. "I can't take that on right now. That doesn't work for me. I'm going to pass on this one." No apology tour required. A short, confident no is far more respected than a long, guilty one. Rule 3, the values filter. Before agreeing to anything significant, ask yourself one question, and only one question. Does this move me closer to who I actually want to become? Or is it just easier to say yes than to deal with the discomfort of saying no? If the honest answer is the second one, that's your answer. Say no. These 3 rules won't make saying no comfortable overnight. Comfort was never the goal. Discipline was. Expect resistance, mostly from yourself. The first few times you apply these rules, your instinct will scream at you to soften the no, to add 3 extra sentences of apology, to cave the moment someone pushes back. That instinct isn't wrong for existing. It's just outdated. It was built over years of rewarding agreeableness and punishing refusal. You're not going to out-argue that instinct in a single day. You're going to out-practice it, one small, deliberate no at a time, until it stops feeling like conflict and starts feeling like ordinary self-respect. Picture 2 lives, side by side. In one, a person says yes to almost everything. They're busy constantly, exhausted often, liked by many and known by almost no one, because there was never enough of themselves left over, after all that agreeing, to actually show anyone who they really are. In the other, a person says no more than most people are comfortable with. They disappoint a few people along the way, they're misunderstood sometimes, but their time is theirs. Their energy is theirs. Their yes, when they give it, means something real, to themselves and to everyone around them. That second life is available to you. It doesn't require permission. It doesn't require anyone's approval. It only requires you to stop treating no like a character flaw and start treating it like what it actually is. One of the most disciplined, most self-respecting words in the entire human language. You don't owe the world your yes. You owe yourself your no.
Out of these 8 reasons, which one hit you the hardest? Which yes are you finally ready to take back? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and honestly, some of the best insights on this channel come directly from you.